Live. It says I'm live. I got the mic turned down. All right. I'm hanging up. I appreciate y'all. Mel, send it in a minute 30 seconds. You heard? And then you gonna send it? Yeah. All right, thank you. Appreciate y'all. Yes, sir. Yo, I'm hitting the button. Yo, shout out to y'all. What up? What up? Salute, salute, salute. Tap in. Live is chatting the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. What's up with it? What's going on with y'all? This is the RUMORNATI Network. We are here. Okay, let's see. Where am I going to be able to see the comments at? There we go. Shout out to y'all. Live is chatting the game. Most aggravating chat in the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. We got a guest coming up. Live interactive interview with Jeremy Mclymont once again. We always show our love and our appreciation when people take time out of their busy schedule. We always show our love and appreciation when someone takes time out of their busy schedule. This is a little different. I got two. Okay, so I see here StreamYard gives you. Why did it say 9:15? I didn't set it for that time. StreamYard gives you two separate chats to watch. Okay. StreamYard sets it up with horizontal and vertical. StreamYard sets up two different chats. Shout out to everybody run the likes up, please. Shout out to everybody watching. Run the likes up, please. We appreciate y'all. Thank everybody for tapping in. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We will have a time for that. Keep your questions armed and ready. We will have a time where you can put your questions in the chat. Shout out to Mike from the Ville. First one in here. Let's go. Sorry for the delay, people. Sorry for the delay, people. Larry Law, let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Grand Rising. Shalom. Salute. Whatever greeting that you choose. Shout out to y'all. Larry Law says Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. Shout out to Larry Law. Shout out to Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County. Shout out to y'all. Let's go. Let's go. We just waiting on everybody to get settled in. We waiting on Jeremy. No rush. Everybody relax. Shout out to the team. We are streaming live from a tent in the woods in Wyoming. This is the RUMORNATI Network, and we are here. We're getting into an interview today with Alicia Andrews' lawyer, Jeremy Mclymont. We're going to talk about the judge being recused, the appeal, and we got a few more questions. If you guys got some questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. Stay tapped in with the RUMORNATI Network. Follow on all socials, please. You could go to the links section of the YouTube, go to the homepage of the YouTube, go to the links section. You'll see the link tree right there and be able to get to all the socials where you can support the channel, follow the channel on all social networks. Larry Law says, thank God for my heat. I love you, Jesus. Thank you for these eggs, waffles, and cheese. Shout out to you, Larry Law. Mike from the Ville says, I can't see Larry comments. You blocked me? Oh, no, bro. I'm going to tell you what it is. StreamYard sets up 2 separate streams as far as for horizontal and vertical. StreamYard puts out 2 separate YouTube streams. Whereas as to if I were doing this on OBS, it would be one feed with one set of chat comments on one page. For me to see both comments, I have to watch 2 separate YouTube streams or watch them both on StreamYard. So yeah, if anybody can't see anybody else's comments, it's because they're watching from a different stream. If you're watching the stream vertically, go ahead and tap that screen, run the likes up. If you're watching horizontally, hit the like button, please. Right. As soon as you get on vertical stream, you can see his comments, right? Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why it sends out 2 separate feeds. But shout out to y'all. We definitely gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Larry Law says, yeah, buddy. We coming, y'all. Y'all already know. Y'all already know we coming. Everything is getting situated, getting itself worked out. Good morning, Grand Rising. Hope everybody's having a great day. Top of the morning, salute, Grand Rising, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum. Whatever greeting you choose, I hope your day is already off to a grand start. And you're out there accomplishing more than you set out to accomplish, overachieving. I don't know why this green screen or this eraser is so glitchy. Maybe if I sit still, do I have to sit still? I can't move a motherfucking lick. As soon as I move, I go to look at that. Oh shit. Okay. All right. There we go. This is where I gotta be. Boom. Soon as we get Jeremy in, you guys are gonna see Jeremy come in on the screen. He's gonna be right there, and we're gonna get to the interview. Other than that, right now, relax, get your popcorn ready, get your drinks if you're enjoying time with your family. Y'all could kick back, relax. This is gonna be one of those interviews, very respectful, of course. You don't have to worry about no viral moments, no whole bunch of heavy profanity. You can watch this one with the kids. Kick back, enjoy yourself. Run the likes up on YouTube. Please run the likes up. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys in advance. I know y'all strong enough, great enough, bold enough, smart enough, and wise enough to run them likes up on YouTube, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Now, where you guys? Oh, I see y'all running them likes up. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Who was tuned in? Who was tuned in for the verses? Was y'all here watching the verses with us? Who was here yesterday when we watched the 20v2 with Charleston White and Finesse 2 times? Who watched that with us yesterday? That shit there was amazing. We had a great time as well. That Hit Boy versus Mike Will, that versus was cool. I ended up erasing that because YouTube was giving me some slack about the content. So I erased that one, but we had a great time as well. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. We're getting everything situated. Who saw the last interview we did with Jeremy? Did you guys see the interview we did with Ksoo's father, Abdul Robinson Sr.? Hold on, while we wait on Jeremy, I'm gonna let something play. Aggravating, dog. Y'all so aggravating, most aggravating chatting game, most appreciated chat in the world. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear the audio, please. Hold on, y'all. Let me see something real quick. Can y'all hear that audio? No? Let me see. Window. XC says, good morning, everyone. Can y'all hear the stream? Can you hear the audio? He says, I can hear you. That's it. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I got y'all. I got y'all. I got y'all. I got y'all. Hold on. I got y'all. Hold on one second. Damn, who coughing like that? All right, guys. I was about to play some audio for you, but there's no need. All right, you guys get ready. The guest is in the building. Let me make sure he's okay first. Y'all give me 1 second. Jeremy is in the building. Y'all give me 1 second, please. Jeremy, I can see you, sir. Can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me, please. Thumbs up if you're ready to go. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. I'm gonna bring Jeremy up. I'm gonna ask him to do a sound check. Mr. Mclymont.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you? Thank you.
I'm doing
All
good.
right, all right, all right. Welcome back, first and foremost.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we ain't gonna cut. We're gonna cut the fat. We're gonna get right to it. First of all, thank you for your time. I know you're a very busy man. We are aware of some of the things that's going on. Of course, we don't know everything, but we see that there is a lot going on. First of all, we see that you guys got a big win in the case as far as the judge, the recusal,
Yeah.
right? How does that play into everything? What does that new appeal? What does the recusal mean now?
So it means a lot. So the recusal itself means that the judge, for one, has to be changed, and it has already changed. So the chief judge, Judge Sabella, has already appointed a new judge to take over the case. But what that also means is that the judge, I'm going to file a motion, right? And I can file a motion to reconsider all of the decisions and the rulings that the previous judge made. Usually, these things happen, and there's an opportunity to reconsider things before a trial, or maybe in the middle of a trial or whatnot. But the trial is gone, the jurors are gone, all of that is done. So when I file a motion to reconsider certain rulings that the judge made, it's not like we can just bring the jury back in and start from where we left off. So ultimately, I'll be asking for a new trial. So that decision
Wow.
in the appellate court will affect a lot.
You just answered like 17 of my questions with one whole. That was perfect, Jeremy. Oh, so damn. Okay. With that being said, was there ever a time during the trial that you guys can a recusal be motioned during the trial, like before it gets to the point of sentencing? Could you guys have done this earlier, or did you try to do it earlier?
So we did. It's a like a misconception about when we did it. We did it in the middle of trial, right? In I think the last day of the trial, in the beginning of the day, we filed the motion, and it's on court TV. You'll see. I tell the judge, I have a motion. She said, "What is that?" And I tell her it's a motion for disqualification. She takes it. She goes in her chambers and she reads it, comes back and denies it, and then we continue on with the trial. But it was filed on the last day of the trial. It was definitely filed, and then the appeal came after the trial. So I mean, obviously, that if it's filed on the last day, I don't have the ability to file the appeal right then and there.
Right.
Um, I had to go and I had to research the issues and also look up and actually get the factual support that I needed, which was to go through all these videos online and find the clips where we thought the bias was prevalent and obvious, and we decided which ones we'd use, and we used those for an appeal. I think I had like 16 um,
Right.
different clips that I used in the appeal.
Right. Because the initial motion that the judge denied, right? They said it was what only four situations, and that she was just managing her courtroom at that point, and that she wasn't out of line by doing that. So you guys had to go compile more information like that. When it's like that though,
So let me correct that real quick.
yes, sir.
So when we filed the appeal, we had four grounds, like four overarching issues. If I can remember them off the top of my head, one was that the judge entered the fray, which means that she's a neutral person or body, right? She's not supposed to get involved without being asked by the party. So if she's objecting for one party or she's saying things on behalf of another party, interrupting witnesses and whatnot, We coined that as entering the fray, and like, we didn't coin it, but that's the term, right? So that was one issue. Another issue was the hostility that she exhibited towards the defense counsels. So that's two issues. Another issue was the fact that she was trying to rush our, or maybe not trying, but at least effectively, what she was doing was rushing our case in chief, the defense case in chief, right? And then there was a fourth issue. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but these were the four
She
issues.
wouldn't let you approach. You wanted
So
a sidebar, right?
is what the state argued, that that was a grounds for our appeal, but it wasn't necessarily a grounds for the appeal, right? These are the bigger issues. Like, so you got to think big umbrella issues that we created. What the state did, and that was in our first initial appeal. In the response from the state, what they did was they tried to dismantle our bigger ideas and started picking out the little examples and saying these are the four examples that they cited to, but it wasn't accurate. Like, I didn't cite to these four examples that they mentioned as
Mhm.
grounds for my appeal. Some of them were examples of the bigger issue, right? But they weren't addressing the bigger issues for the court. So when they responded and they pretty much tried to create their own arguments for Miss Andrews and then argue against those arguments, in my reply, I just pointed out what I actually did, right, in the appeal, what they're saying I did, and then what they didn't respond to.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
That
no
was-
problem.
now you said it's going to basically be a whole new case. Is there any worries going into this with a whole new judge, like basically starting over? Are there any worries now that what I mean is when someone, like, say it's a job and someone makes a complaint at a job and they're like, okay, this employee is problematic, do they now look at you guys like problematic, or is it it's past that, it's just fair, this judge, would be held liable if they were to look at you in some kind of, oh, these people are trouble, this defense team is.
Mhm. So what I think I'm hearing is whether this appeal and the appellate decision will result in any drawback, any negative effects,
Thank you
retaliation.
for, yes, thank you for clearing up the way I asked that, but that's exactly what I was asking.
Yeah. So here's the thing: if you're gonna fight against uh, unfairness
Mhm.
in any situation, well, in any walk of life, if you're going to challenge it, then you're going to receive some sort of blowback for it. The decision to do so obviously needs to be guided by what's in the best interest of the client. And it was not in her best interest to be sentenced by the former judge. If the next judge is worse, uh, in some people's eyes, if the next judge is worse or just as bad, it does not change the reason why we appealed the first judge's actions, right? We can't pick and choose which judge we get, but we can call out something that we think is unfair, and we can make sure that that judge is no longer on the case. And if the next judge is unfair for any reason, which I doubt she will be, if the next judge is unfair for any reason, at that point we would have to do the same thing, right? If it gets to that, but to answer your question, there could be retaliation, but the benefit outweighs any negative consequences, because at this point, like I said, we may not even get to a sentencing. We may get to a
Mm.
trial, and anyone who's saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't make any difference, you're still going to get sentenced," or the new judge is still going to, sentence her to the maximum time, whatever it is, we have the ability now to ask for a new trial. And ultimately, whether it's done now or down the road, Miss Andrews is going to get a new trial because of the appellate decision that we just got from the second DCA. So it yeah, there can be some sort of negative consequences, but it's not going to outweigh the positives.
Yes, sir. If this judge was to, let's just say this judge were to grant a downward departure and she gets probation, Are you guys still filing for an appeal to clear her record, or would
So
that
that
be satisfactory?
so that's a decision that, and let's, I guess, imagine we don't get a new trial and it proceeds to sentencing. Um, if the judge gives probation, which is unlikely, but hey, if it happens, then that's a decision that Miss Andrews is going to have to make. Do you want to appeal, go back for a new trial, and see if you can get found not guilty, or do you want to accept, what the judge is giving you, which is probation? So I can't answer that question. That's an answer that Miss A
Understood.
will think about um, in her situation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And other ground. So remember the four overarching things. The other ground that I missed was that the judge displayed hostility towards defense witnesses. Right. So the four that we had were the one I just mentioned: judge displaying hostility towards defense witnesses, the judge displaying hostility towards defense counsels, the judge entering the fray, and the judge rushing our case in chief. So those are the four issues that I raised, and each issue has its independent, different examples. So like this idea that I raised to the appellate court that an issue was that she didn't let me come sidebar. That's not, in my view, that's not a strong enough ground to show that she was biased. Does it tend to show that? Kind of, right? But that's not strong enough for me to bring to an appellate court and say this is why I think she should be recused. Right?
Mhm.
That's not strong enough. So the reasons I did cite, those are well-grounded reasons and issues that have case law supporting the fact that if a judge does these things, right, and they're to the point where they prejudice Ms. Andrews or any defendant, then the judge should be recused. So with those four things, I supported them with many examples. So 14, 16 different examples,
Right. The appeal was strong.
collectively. So the state was trying to say that I had four grounds or four different examples, and one of them was like, oh, did the judge um, sustain an objection from the state, or that I couldn't come sidebar or whatever. These were not the issues. They were just creating their own arguments to argue against.
Yes, sir. So yeah, they highlighted the smaller things to us, leaving out the major things that you guys actually noted. So with that being, with her saying she's fully within her rights, there's no basis for disqualification. Do you think a judge can like step outside of themselves and actually see when they're being biased to a defense? Doesn't an appellate court always have to come step in and say, yes, this is wrong? Like, how many people are going to say, yeah, I'm over here choosing this side against this side? Can a judge actually, like, what's the probability of a judge saying, okay, yeah, I stepped down, I'm being biased, I don't like this guy?
Yeah, I think it depends on how the party requests the judge to be disqualified or to recuse themselves. So I've had it to where judges have looked at the motion and they've recused themselves. But it's usually because of something that was sort of detached from the current proceedings. So I've had judges recuse themselves because I supported a candidate, an opposite candidate, an opposing candidate in their judicial run, right? So when they see me in court, hey, you supported my opponent. If you want me to recuse, if you want me to be recused from your cases, if you want them to go to another judge, we can do that now, right? Something that wasn't attached to what they're currently doing in this
Okay.
proceeding. Another time I had a client where they had some adverse interactions with a judge outside of my case, and I filed a motion. The judge just signed off on it. Okay, go to another judge. But it seems to me as though if I'm in the middle of a hearing or in the middle of a trial, and I say to a judge they need to recuse themselves, they are hesitant to do that. And I don't know if it's because of a pride issue. I don't know if it's because in the moment they can't see the bias for themselves, or they just don't want to let go of something that they have such a personal connection to. So it is possible for judges to recuse themselves. I think in my experience, I've seen it happen only when it's about an issue that's detached from either myself or the current proceedings. But when it's, like imagine if you're a judge and you're on, television and someone's asking you to recuse yourself, and you're in the middle of a trial, the trial's about to end, it, chances are they're not going to want to do it because they're not
Right.
going to admit in the middle of a trial that they have been biased or that there's grounds to say that they've been biased. So they fight it, and I mean, I've had I think two different appeals now where judges fought the recusal and they were told by the appellate court that they had um, to disqualify themselves.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the times you were filing the motions and the appeals. Is there a is there a tactic to the timing of the filing? Like they said, the appeal was filed like the last minute, the last hour. Like, is that a tactic, or is it just that's just how the chips fall sometimes?
Let's see. So trial ended October 31st, Halloween. Uh, I had another trial, another high profile trial, November 17th, that I
Mm-hmm.
had to prepare for. While I was preparing for that trial, I also had to file a motion for a new trial in Alicia Andrews' case, which I filed on November 11th, which took some time and whatnot. And I was also preparing in that time period to file the appeal. Once the new trial that I had took over 11/17, once that trial took over, that trial lasted a little over 2 weeks. So it took me to maybe December 1st or 2nd. I filed the appeal on December 5th. I believe it was December 5th that I filed the appeal. So the timeline you can see is like everything was happening back to back to back. And the strategy, it was never to like wait until the last second to file the appeal. If I had it my way, maybe it'd have been filed earlier. As soon as because I mean, I wanted to file the appeal like the day after trial. If you,
Right.
I like I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it that night. But there are sometimes I have things I got to do, and obviously it takes some time to put the appeal together. So it's not necessarily as easy to just write it up. It was a strong appeal, right? 16,
Very.
17 pages with a lot of support. I had to cut up a lot of videos that took time to go back
Mhm.
and watch all these videos on YouTube. They're 8 hours long and 6 hours long, and so I had to go download the video
I know about it.
and you all are content creators, so you got to download the video from YouTube, and that sometimes takes a while. You got to get a converter to change it from YouTube to regular um, uh, MP4. Then I got to put it in a program, find the locations that I need, cut them up, use them as an example. And so that took more time than actually doing any research or writing. A lot of it was labeling these exhibits, getting them properly organized and whatnot,
Mhm.
and then putting it together. So it took time. So that's that. And then when we filed the appeal, the judge, we asked her to stay the sentencing, which is to like, or to stay the case, which is to pause everything until the appellate court could make the decision on the appeal. And so the judge denied that request. The previous judge, Judge Cisco, denied that request. But I was already working on getting the appellate court to stay the lower case in the meantime. And so when she denied it, the appellate court was like, stay issued. So everything was paused.
Um, just a little tip from a content creator. If you got to get some clips, just individual clips from a long YouTube video,
Mhm.
don't download the whole video. Screen recorder be your best friend. I promise you, man. It saves you a lot of time, space. Screen record what you need. You can
Yeah.
crop it any size you want and fast forward through the video, and it just saves a lot of time. That's just a tip, bro. But man, yeah, it is a lot too. Also,
Where-
it's a lot. So when it's when it's like that, like how do you decide whether to fight a judge versus fighting the case, right? Because asking for disqualifying the judge could end up being a big decision. In this case, in this instance, it worked in you guys' favor, but like how often do you face something like that where you have to decide like at this time, what are we actually going against? And it would be better to remove this judge and we fight the case later. Is there a time like that? Sorry for the long-winded question. Is it a time like that? And like, how do you make that decision?
So during the trial, I'll give you an example in this case. During the trial, it came up that we should move to disqualify the judge, even earlier in the trial. Um, but we didn't pull the trigger earlier on because we're balancing what you're asking me. We're trying to figure out whether it's worth disqualifying the judge. So, because at the end of the day, if you move to disqualify a judge, you better have a good reason for doing it, right? Because if you're doing it and you don't have a good legitimate basis for doing so, you could end up negatively impacting your client. So there were moments where we thought, hey, this is a little bit unfair. But then it got to a point where it was just like so blatant, um, that we felt there was no way we could have a fair trial and no way that the judge could remain on the case. So at that point, when we felt like we had enough grounds, enough basis, enough examples of the bias, we decided to file a motion. I think there was another part of your question, and I guess I'll say that to to make that decision to disqualify the trial court or any judge that's on the case or at any point in time, I think if you how do I say this? If you if your client is having an issue with the judge, you obviously talk to the client about it. Say, look, this is the decision that we're thinking about making. And if your client understands it completely, because they should understand completely what the repercussions could be, and they think that they're not getting a fair trial, and probably every client thinks they're not getting a fair trial. If the judge looks at the prosecutor for 2 seconds too long, the client's like, this is unfair, right? But like really explain it to your client and explain the chances that you could have the judge recused or that they could stay on and things could get worse and things could be
Right.
done in a way that doesn't appear to be biased. So judges can do things that don't appear to be biased, but they, in the back of their mind, they are biased. Um, so if you tip the judge off, too early in the trial, they may change the way they're behaving on the outside, but still maintain those positions on the inside. Right? There's a way that you can portray that you're being fair to both sides,
Mm-hmm.
but really deep down you're not. And it shows deep down in the rulings. If you understand the different rulings, it shows in I would say just the rulings and decisions and whatnot. You would see it like when we request something, when the state requests something, the way you rule one way should be the same for the other. The way you get on one side should be the same for the other. But there's ways to sort of temper it, but still have your own bias.
So that's it's a lot of client attorney trust involved in there. You got to trust your attorney and their time and their decision making as well. Because if you don't know, you're basically putting your life in the attorney's hands. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that goes there. We're gonna one more question, and we start getting into some lighter things before we get you out of here, Jeremy. We appreciate you thus far. You guys, please run the likes up. Mel says, "I'm about to become a lawyer. I be knowing. I said they should have disqualified her early on." That's crazy. You guys run the likes up, please. If you have any questions for Jeremy, keep it respectful. Go ahead and put it down in the chat. We'll make sure we get to him before we get out of here. Jeremy, also another question. With the new judge coming on, I know you said that it can basically turn into a new case. So that means they pick up what I'm at. Hold on, let me rephrase this question. Does the new judge come in and immediately get to sentencing, and what can they use or revisit to make their decision? Like, what are they locked in on, and what can they go back and look at that they may not be privy to in order to make their decision?
Right. So I guess in a normal situation where the case is not recorded, in the way that it was. Like you can go on YouTube and watch the whole thing. A judge would have to go back and review transcripts of the trial to see what happened so that they could properly sentence an individual. That would either be the situation, or maybe during the sentencing, the judge would or the parties would present certain things, evidence and whatnot that happened in the trial to give this judge an idea of what happened in the trial. Um, there is a chance that the new judge saw everything that happened in the trial, because judges do talk, and obviously this case was on court TV, so maybe she saw it.
Right.
So there's a possibility that she is very aware of everything that happened. I don't know, but yeah, in a normal circumstance, the judge would have to go back and I guess review everything. So that
Wow.
is what I anticipate happening. If we get to a sentencing, I anticipate the judge going back and reviewing what happened so that they can have a sense of what Miss Andrews actually did. And it's not as though, she was convicted of the charge that she was originally charged with. She's convicted of a lesser included offense, which to a judge, you'd have to really go back and see what evidence came out and what did she actually have involvement with and what did they actually prove in the trial so that you can make the proper decision when sentencing.
So with that being said, um, how long do you think it would take to get to sentencing now that the appeal's been granted, with the judge having to go back and basically review the entirety of the case?
So I don't know. I guess at some point we'll have a status hearing. The judge was appointed already. So at some point we'll have some sort of status hearing. We'll come together and we will maybe pick a sentencing date in the future. And I don't know how much time will be necessary for the judge to get up to speed. Maybe she will have an idea in her head. But again, maybe before we even get to the status hearing, I'm going to be filing motions for the judge to consider. So again, it may not even get to that, and in a sense, he may be pushed out further until such time that the judge can hear. That's what I'd be asking for, until such time that the judge can hear the motions that we are going to file.
Yes, sir. What separates a good lawyer from a dangerous lawyer?
What do you mean dangerous? You mean like Better Call Saul dangerous, or
Bro, that was,
I don't know. When you said good and dangerous, I don't know.
that was a that was a question from one of the family members. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that, but let's for example, yeah, let's just say a better call Saul lawyer. Like yeah, what do, I guess he's asking to a client, what would they look for, I guess, in a good attorney?
Yeah. Okay. So I just say good and bad, right? Attorneys. Good attorneys, obviously, for one, as a lawyer, you should know the law. You should know
Right.
the different ins and outs of whatever type of case you're working on. So if you were to put me in the real estate arena, if you were to put me in bankruptcy, I would not be a good lawyer there because I don't know anything about bankruptcy or real estate. Um, so I need to be in the right, dangerous in the courtroom, dangerous to judges, or dangerous to clients.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and I'm still when you say dangerous, I'm assuming that's bad. Like that means a bad lawyer. Um, so yeah, so you should know the law. That's the one thing. A good lawyer. The next thing is that you should be able to think. If you're in trial, at least you should be able to think quickly on your feet
Mm.
because things happen at a rapid pace, and you should be able to analyze a situation really quickly and decide what is the best way to deal with the issue, whether it be you're cross-examining an officer who's just told a lie, whether it be that you there's some new evidence that the state is trying to bring in that you need to combat. And in order to make those good, fast analysis and decisions, you have to know the law first, because every decision you make has to be based on what the law is and then what would be best for your client. So if a lawyer doesn't know the law, if a lawyer is not good on their feet, and if a lawyer does not pay attention to detail, right? Like detail, paying attention to detail is one of the most important attributes of a good lawyer.
Mhm.
And listening, being able to listen to what's going on and not talking as much as lawyers like to talk. So some people like to talk and they like to hear themselves talk because it makes them feel good. Um, I like to listen to a lot of the things that happen. As you listen to things, you hear a lot more. You hear what's about to happen before it even happens. If you're listening well enough, if you're listening well enough, you can anticipate, you can be ready for something that's going to come in the future. It's just a very, very important attribute. So people on TV, they see lawyers and they see them talking a lot, yelling, maybe screaming and jumping up and down and kicking up dust and all this sort of stuff. And it's just not the way that I practice. I think if you're
Mhm.
doing all that, it's for show, it's for TV, obviously. But it's also just you don't have the ability to listen and pay attention to detail if you're making all of this fuss and this noise all the time throughout the proceedings. So those are I think the three or four things that I would say separate a good lawyer from a bad lawyer.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Um, can you give us any insight on any cases that may have caught your attention recently? Hmm, good one.
Recently, obviously, there was a YNW Melly dismissal.
Right, with the tampering with evidence.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
that
going to ask you about that.
so that's
Oh,
one that I
sorry.
remember recently. Other than that, I mean, I'm sure I've seen other things. I've seen like I don't watch them a lot, like get into the weeds with them, but I saw like some kid who got found guilty of I think killing a boy and not guilty of killing a girl. It was there's a boy and a girl that were victims in a case, and there's a light skin I think it's a light skinned black kid that was on trial for it. And
Mhm.
maybe last week or so he just got found guilty of I think killing the boy, but not the girl, or maybe it was a mistrial on the girl. So I saw that like come across my feed and whatnot, and some other I think husband wife situations where the husband kills the wife, something like that. So I've seen those cases, and people may know them in the chat and may be able to call them out, but I don't know the ins and outs and specifics because I've been so busy with my own things.
Heard, understood, definitely understood. Um, where is it? Speaking of your own things, we have a question that says, by the end of trial, it was noticed that there were only two attorneys on the defense team. Can you clear that up? Was it only two attorneys? And if so, what was the reason for that?
Now it was four throughout the trial. Throughout the trial it was four in, four out. So it
Okay,
was
through the entirety. Okay.
yeah, it was myself, Yesley Herrera, Life Malcolm, and Arian White.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we cleared that one up. Um, all right. Now these just some random questions before we get you up out of here, Jeremy. We're not gonna take up your Sunday. We appreciate you first of all. Do you have any Super Bowl predictions?
So I'll tell you, I have not watched football like a game or really anything about football since probably 2015, 2016, since the whole Colin Kaepernick thing.
Hmm.
And if I can remember correctly, I think the Broncos and the Rams are in the Super Bowl. Is that correct? Or I might be wrong about that. At least I know they were in the four.
No, it's all good. It's the Seahawks and the Patriots.
Then I got both of them wrong. Seahawks and the Patriots. So see,
Right.
I don't even know who the quarterbacks are right now. The Seahawks and the Patriots. In my head, when you say Seahawks and Patriots, I'm thinking Tom Brady and what's
Russell. Right.
yeah.
Oh yeah. We can move on. That's funny, man. We can move on. Mel's asked. Mel says that she would like to see you work alongside attorneys, the likes of Drew Finland. Is there any attorneys you would like to see yourself working alongside in the future?
Yeah. So I don't know Drew Finland at all, but I have a cordial relationship with like Bradford Cohen, um, recently Sam Zengana. These are lawyers. I don't know if you know who these people are, but they are lawyers in South Florida where I live.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
also, um, who else would I see myself working with? And when I say I see myself working with, I'd say I would like the opportunity to work with these people to pick their brains and see how they work. I don't know if it'll actually happen, right? But David Oscar Marcus is another lawyer in South Florida who I admire a lot. But if you're talking about people, lawyers that people know, like the general public know, Bradford Cohen is Kodak's lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So he also represents. I think he represented Pooh Shiesty. He represented Rod Waves. I think brother or cousin. He represents a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, and so I would like to work with him. I would like to work with, like I said, David Oscar Marcus. Um, there's an attorney, black attorney named Ronald Sullivan. I would like to work with him, learn from him. Brian Stevenson. I don't know how much litigation he does now, but I would just love to be a fly on the wall um, with any case that he works on. So those are some of the people that I would like to work with, learn from.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. How and salute to them. How Mels asks also, how easy or difficult is it to get appointed in other cities, states, or jurisdictions?
You said how easy it is to get appointed.
How easy or difficult is it to get appointed in other cities, states, or jurisdictions?
You mean like as a lawyer?
Yes.
So I'm barred in Florida. I took a bar exam. Every state has its own bar exam. So I took the bar exam in Florida, and I can practice in anywhere in Florida itself on the state level, right? So
Wow.
every state has its own bar exam. Some states are part of what's called the universal bar exam. So you can take a bar exam that applies to like different states, but you still got to apply for admission to any state that you want to be in,
Right.
even if you pass that exam. So I am licensed to practice in Florida. I can do what's called pro hoc vice, get special admission to practice in other states
Mm.
through a licensed attorney in those other states. So you have to ask for permission to do it, and if the judge allows it, then you can go in and you can practice. So I've done that in different places like LA. I've done it in California for a client of mine, Risa Islam. I've done it in um,
I didn't know you represented Rizza Islam.
I did, yeah.
Well,
Me and him are close.
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, yeah. So New Jersey, I've done it in New York, uh, New Mexico.
Damn.
Yeah, I think those are it for the places that I've actually asked the judge to admit me pro hoc vice. If I want to not have to ask for special permission, I'd have to take the bar exam for whatever other state and apply for admission into that state. I could also waive into certain states. Means I've been a lawyer for X amount of time. I don't have to take the bar exam in this state. They recognize my Florida, um, practice or whatnot, and I just apply to be in their states. Like DC is one of those. I can waive into DC, which I plan to do this year. And then once you waive into DC and you're licensed to practice in DC, you can waive into other places like Maryland or New York. So
Right.
it's like a chain effect sort of. But it I wouldn't say it's easy to do that or any of those things. You have to keep a clean record for one, because they won't accept you into the other states if you don't have a clean record. They always ask you if you have any disciplinary actions against you when you apply for these different states, and they want to know your history and your background before they let you into their state to practice. So it can happen, and it's not impossible. So yeah, that's my answer.
Something you just said makes me can you be a lawyer with a criminal history? Can a convicted felon become a lawyer?
Do I know any convicted felons that are? So here's the thing. Convicted felons can definitely go to law school. You can definitely, um, after you graduate from law school, you're technically a lawyer. You become an attorney when you pass the bar. I think you can also sit for the bar. I think if you're a convicted felon, I think you can sit for the bar. Now the thing becomes, will the board of bar examiners accept you and allow you to practice law if you're convicted.
Mm,
I think that it depends on maybe the felony conviction that you have,
mhm.
right, to get in. I don't know if a felony conviction is an absolute bar to you being a lawyer or practicing attorney. I don't think it is, but anything that deals with like theft or money laundering, any of that sort of stuff, you can probably kiss any dreams of being an attorney goodbye because you have you have to be in a position of truth as an attorney. So if you have theft charges, anything like that, fraud, anything like, they're not going to. That's one of the things that they frown upon. Um, I'm assuming as well crimes of violence that you, if you have a crime of violence, you're unlikely to become a lawyer. So if it's some petty felony or whatever, I don't know. Maybe if you were protesting somewhere and they arrested you for a felony and whatnot, and you got convicted of that somewhere down the road, maybe you could become an attorney.
Yes, sir. All right, we got just a few more questions, Jeremy. We're not gonna hold you up too much longer.
Somebody said, "What about Brian Steele?" So yeah, Brian.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so I just saw it on the screen as an attorney. So I maybe forgot to mention him, but definitely he's also someone
Shout
that
out Shay.
someone that I would love to work with.
Yes, sir. Also, we have a question from the chat. Said it's about to be a new trial. Exceed says, is it too late for your client to become a cooperating witness for the state? And shout out to Shay for that. Brian Steele, let's go.
Is it too late? I mean, I guess we have to ask the state. We'd have to ask the state if it's too late. But I mean, it's not something that we're considering or looking at in this case. But to answer your question on a technical basis, is it too late? It's never. It's really never too late for anyone to cooperate with the state. People are sitting in prison and they come back on time that they have in prison or that they've been sentenced to because they end up cooperating with the state on some issue, right? So
Right.
it's really never too late. There's always something that maybe you could cooperate against or with, but yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, we got a few more questions. Then we're gonna get to a few little lighthearted questions. All right. Larry Law wants to know there was a trucker, Javion McGee, and a Delta State University student by the name of Trey Ring that were found hung. Are you aware of any of these cases, and would you ever take on one of them?
So I've heard of these lynchings, these hangings. I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
specifically the name of each one that I've heard of. You hear about them on like college campuses or maybe like there was a noose on a college campus, and then they're like in some really remote areas. I've heard of those things. I've seen them on my timeline and whatnot. Would I take on the case? Meaning, would I defend the person who did the hanging, or would I take on the civil rights aspect of it? If the police did the hanging, or like what is you got to be more specific if I would take on the case because there's different roles.
Okay, I'm gonna make the decision for him, and I'm gonna say he meant, would you take the civil rights case as far as fighting for the families?
Yeah, yeah. So I do civil rights as well as criminal defense. So civil rights is another practice area that I have under
I
my
told you,
studies.
Larry. I told you he would.
Yeah.
Told you that. Have you ever gotten uh anyone's clemency granted?
No, not clemency. Clemency, and there's two different types of clemency. It can be state level
Mhm.
or it can be at the federal level. Right. So the governor deals with the clemency issues in the state. The president deals with clemency pardons at the federal level. So I've not had the opportunity. I don't think I've ever even applied for that in any case.
Okay. Real quick, what do you think, if you're aware, what do you think Ksoo's chances are with his next case, seeing that he has the same judge that just sentenced him to life from the last case?
So the judge doesn't. I mean, the judge has an effect on the trial, certainly, um, but they're not the jury. They're not the ones making the decision on guilt or innocence. They do make rulings on evidence that can come in and evidence that has to stay out, right? So they affect the trial in certain ways, but it's going to be between the attorneys and the um, the jury to decide
The
whether
jury.
Ksoo is guilty or innocent of whatever he's charged with. So that judge, even though it was the judge from the previous case or whatnot, it should not affect his the decision of the jury.
Yes, sir. Okay, now, what worries you most about where online culture is headed, if any worries at all?
People online saying things about the law that they don't know to be true.
Mm,
If we're going to teach people the law, and we should, and if we're going to engage in these legal conversations, and we should be watching these trials and learning from them, then everybody who's online has a responsibility to report accurately,
mm-hmm,
not to jump to any conclusions, and to learn what you're speaking about. If you make an affirmative statement about something that regards the law or one of these cases, and you don't know that to be the truth, you're only hurting yourself and your audience, because then you're creating a narrative that really is not true. Um, if you're asking questions about the law, that's different, right? If you're asking questions about the law to someone who knows the law, then that's great. Like, you're opening a dialogue, you're asking questions that other people may not know the answers to, and you're learning together. But I've seen many people make comments about this trial about me as an attorney, other people as an attorney, and they don't know what they're talking about, but they're speaking as though they know the facts. They have absolutely zero experience in practicing law, zero knowledge about how the law works, and they're online saying things about the way that an attorney practices law, and
mm,
they have no grasp of the concept. So what I see is people just online saying things just to get likes and clicks and whatnot, and you don't have to do that. If like, you don't have to make stuff up or just say things that aren't accurate so that you can get likes and views. There are plenty of people who accurately report things, who, if they don't know the answer to a question, will ask the answer to the question, bring on any legal analysis you want to ask the questions before formulating your own opinions, wrong opinions, and people are going to watch your stuff regardless. So just do it, do it properly.
excuse me. And responsibly, guys. Y'all hear that? That's why we appreciate you, Jeremy, for even taking the time to come up here and have the dialogue with us to get some clarity, because um, we are some of those people, at times. Like, we don't get too far over here. We don't go too far off or say anything wild or report. We try to get to as close to the truth as possible, man. And we appreciate you for this. Just maybe three more questions. So we know you're a J. Cole fan, right? What's your thoughts on the new mixtape, if you had a chance to hear it? And how do you feel about him stepping out of the battle with Kendrick and Drake?
All right, so now we got a topic I'm very familiar with.
Let's go.
The new mixtape got 4 songs on it. I, the best song on the mixtape is the fourth song, the "Money, Power, Respect"
Let's go.
instrumental he rapped on. That's the best one, hands down. I can't remember what the name of the first song is, but the first song I think is the second best. The other two that he put in the middle, they're decent, right? But again, this is like a little mixtape that he used as a throwaway. I know that he's not gonna put out the mixtape, and this is like his best work. It's just not. Um, but he could have put that "Money, Power, Respect" on his album. Like, I mean, and maybe it's because of publishing and whatnot, and he's using somebody else's beat while he did it.
Right.
But that song is easily the best one on his album. He said, "I orbit the earth every time I'm recording a verse."
He know.
He said he from a different universe. He walking around looking for a portal that works. I was like, Jesus,
Bro, that was hard.
oh my God. He said, look, what
Hard.
he walked, like, the only way to picture him rapping is to picture Jeffrey Dahmer walking a caucus across the carpet. I was like, golly. So, so yeah, so, and then I think the
Nasty, dog.
second part of your question,
He says, hold on, sorry. Oh, How do you feel about him stepping out of the battle
battle.
with Drake and Kendrick?
I mean, I was ready for him to get to get down to business with the battle. I wanted him to do it. I was excited when I heard the 7 minute drill song, which was his response. And I feel like, I mean, he's got to do whatever he wants to do in his world, but I feel like he should have stayed in it. I feel like he could have used he dropped the mixtape right after he bowed out. I feel like he could have used those songs from the mixtape as responses to Kendrick or whatever. Like the songs that were on the mixtape, some of them were songs that were like battle ready songs, and he could have changed a few words here and there. He could have just put Kendrick's name in it, in any of those songs, or maybe just the whole mixtape itself. Like, here, you think that you're a better rapper than me? Here's a whole mixtape as a response. Boom, and
Right. Wow.
that could have been his response, right? Like make something better than this. Boom. Um, so I mean, it's like 2020's hindsight, all this stuff, but he did what he felt he had to do at the time. And me personally, I feel like he should have kept going. He could have done it in a way that doesn't destroy his friendship with Kendrick. So
Mm. Right. I mean, it's when people hoop, we go out there to hoop against each other. I'm trying to dog you. I'm just trying to prove I'm the best one on the court right now. It's nothing personal. So, like, what's the difference? It's the
yeah,
sport of rap. We in hip hop. Let's do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. Appreciate that, man. All right. Okay, maybe I should have asked this question earlier. But shout out to Mills. How is your 2026 starting, and how do you see it ending?
Started good so far.
Shout out, La Mama.
I I thought maybe I just didn't think about it, but I thought that the Alicia Andrews thing was like 2025, and that was it. We got to move on to new things.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's not just 2025. It's blending into 2026, and now we on February 1st, so now we're in Black History Month. So it's still lingering.
The hundredth year celebrating Black History Month. Just so y'all know, 2026 is the 100th year celebrating Black History Month.
That's
Sorry,
crazy.
Jeremy.
I didn't even know that we've been celebrating for 100 years. So that's cool. But yeah, so the way I see it ending, or see it going, I guess, is that I'll try more cases this year. I'll become a better trial attorney, perfecting my craft and whatnot. And the sky's the limit in terms of what cases I'll try and whatnot. At the end of the year, I don't like putting limits. I just put my head down and work, and then
Mhm.
whatever happens, happens.
I
Um,
understand that completely.
so it's just, the sky's the limit.
Yes, sir. Real quick, y'all. 2026. This is the 100th year commemorating Black History Month. Started in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. It was known as Negro History Week. So this is the 100 years celebrating the studying and honoring the contributors of African descent. So y'all make sure every day for these next 28, well, including today's days, that you guys do something to honor and commemorate those great people. Please. Shay, shout out to Shay. She says, any insight on the Mo3 case?
I don't know anything about it. I mean, Moultrie is the guy who got killed on the highway, right?
Yes. In Dallas on 35.
The only thing I know about that case is what I saw, like the video of that. So I don't know enough to give any insight about it.
Yes, sir. All right. Anybody got any more questions in the chat? If not, we're going to get out of here. We're going to give y'all like 30, 40 seconds to put some questions in the chat for Jeremy. We're not going to hold this man up. This is a busy man, and we appreciate his time. I don't see any more. I think we're going to call that a wrap. I know you guys can type at least 25 words per minute. They would have been there already. So, Jeremy, we thank you very much once again, sir. Is there any... Mel says, are y'all hiring? I ain't mad at you, man. I ain't mad.
Yeah, right now we're not. But if you send me your resume, maybe I'll hold on to it.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. You never know what God might plan. Land you. You know what I'm talking about. Jeremy, any last words, any advice that you got for anybody or any up and coming lawyers, content creators, anybody who watches these trials, anything, or any last words you just want to leave with the people before you go?
Okay, I can give some advice to like other upcoming lawyers and content creators, even though I'm not a
And I
necessarily.
do have one more question. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right, yeah. So up and coming lawyers, like I said, there's different ways to signal whether somebody's a good or bad lawyer. I think you should work on the things that I mentioned, and there's other ways to be a good lawyer, right? But listening, paying attention to detail, knowing the law, right? Those things are very, very important, right? And getting out there and meeting people is important too. Meeting other lawyers, meeting your colleagues and whatnot in networking spaces. So up and coming lawyers, I think those are the very important things that you have to work on. You can't take any shortcuts. There's no shortcuts to success. You can't not know any of those things or not be able to do any of those things and be a great lawyer, because you have to master those things and you have to practice them on a day-to-day basis in order to be good at them. In terms of content creation, I think that um, there's so much out there. There's so much to do. Um, if you're talking about creating content on these legal issues, I think every content creator should have a friend who practices law, who can sort of guide them and direct them on some of these issues before they put things out. So there are some content creators out there who've created videos about this case, and I have fed them the documents, the legal documents that they need to make their content, right?
Mm.
Um, just because they've asked for it, and I made it public on all my Instagram posts and whatnot. I say on the bottom of it, if you want the briefings for our appeal, just email me. So there's
Wow.
ways to get your hands on the documents that I'm filing so you can read it for yourself. Or you can put it up on the screen and you can read it with people. All right. So finding ways to actually get your hands on the documents that are a part of the criminal docket is so important because then you can analyze it yourself with your audience, instead of thinking or saying things that they might just be rumors.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. One last question before we let you go, Jeremy. Given the success of so many attorneys, speaking to content creators, right? So many attorneys reacting to popular cases, yours included. Have you thought about starting a YouTube channel?
I thought about it, yeah. I mean, and even on my Instagram, and maybe, yeah, Instagram, I've gone and commented and whatnot and posted on my own Instagram. The problem is I can't be as consistent as some people are.
Mm-hmm.
I really have a lot going on with my own cases. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, I'm going to start a YouTube page and comment. Because imagine all the cases that you mentioned today that we mentioned, we talked about. There's a lot of cases. We talked about like 5 or 6 other cases that are out there. The Mode 3, the the ones that I couldn't remember the names for, but I saw them like on my
Right.
timeline and whatnot. There were 2 of those, and then the YNW Melly. Like there's always trials to be talked about and discussed. And in order to actually have a real discussion about any of these cases, I have to follow them and look at them, and that takes time. So I don't know that I'd be able to create my own YouTube page, but like if somebody wants me to get on their platform or whatever and talk about a case, I can prep that one case and figure out what's going on that case to be able to have an intelligent conversation about it. But I don't know that right now I have the time to create a YouTube page to start talking about these cases.
Well, maybe in the future, uh, if your schedule allows, we can get you up here to go over one of these cases or something with us, man. If you have some time or something, we would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah,
And I thank you, Jeremy, and thank you for today. Thank you for before. Thank you for the future, man. We appreciate you. We expect great things from you. We're watching. With well wishes in mind, we wish you the best.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Have a great day, man. Thank you for rocking out with the platform, being very insightful and open, sacrificing your time to sit down with little old us, man, right here at the RUMORNATI Network. Man, you are much appreciated as always, man. Y'all show some love for Jeremy Mclymont, y'all. Please put some ones in the chat for Jeremy. Y'all do something, man. Jeremy, thank you very much, man. We're gonna let you go.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all have a good
Yes,
weekend.
sir. Y'all. Thank Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for riding out. Okay, I see the ones in the chat for Jeremy. Let's go. Shout out Lil Mama. Shout out Larry Law. Shout out Shay. Shout out Exceed. Shout out Mills. Mike from the Ville. Larry Law says, all right, I say Shermy. All right, Jeremy, thanks. Shay with the ones in the chat for Jeremy. Lil Mama with the ones in the chat for Jeremy. Larry Law says, Jesus is great. Y'all doing it now. God is good, right? LOL. Mike from the Ville says, shout out Black people. Shout out Black History Month. Larry Law says, y'all have a great day. Mel says, are y'all hiring? Mel's trying to get a job. I'm not mad at you. Listen, y'all, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Ain't no need to prolong it, right? We did what we came to do. Y'all have a great Sunday. We appreciate y'all. We will be back tomorrow morning. We will be back tomorrow morning around 9:30. Locked in. We're going to try to go, we ain't even going to put no time on. We're just going to say around 9:30, y'all. Super duper salute to y'all. Thank y'all. Live is chat in the game. Most aggravating chat in the game. Most appreciated chat in the world. This has been the RUMORNATI Network live with Jeremy Mclymont, streaming live from a tent in the woods in Wyoming. Y'all are the greatest chat, man. I thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. Make sure I ain't miss nothing. If y'all want to get and chop it up after this on Discord, we can do that. Other than that, man, y'all enjoy y'all day. Y'all have a great day. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for rocking out as always. But like my bro say, I reserve the right to be wrong. That's only because there's room for human error. I'll never set me out. I'll never set you out. That falls back on me. And I love myself too much to set you out. You know what I'm talking about? And also, I identify as a multimillionaire in this world of choices and identities. People choose to be a man when they weren't born one, a woman when they weren't born one, a Crayola crayon when they weren't born one. So I choose to identify as a multimillionaire. They got to put some respect on our dollar, give us a cash register if they got a bathroom. Other than that, this is the RUMORNATI Network. We all out of here. Much love to y'all. Super duper salute. Let's go.